Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by our number one news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nondumiso Vilagata alongside Nomakabiso Nkambule, and here are your top stories. The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku attended a Culture Day event at Ejendlovu High School. The Health Bill of 2022 has passed with amendments in Senate. Some traditional healers have registered for the elections at the Elections and Boundaries Commission at Nkanini. And now the news in detail. The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku attended a Culture Day event at Ejendlovu High School. Masuku says it is important for pupils to be taught about the country's culture so that they can pass it to the next generation.
During the month of May, also known as the Africa Month, countries across the continent were celebrating their heritage. Eswatini has also joined the rest of the UN member states in celebrating culture and her heritage. The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says hosting Culture Days plays an important role in preserving culture and Eswatini traditions.
Masiko abusha nje kuvula ngoselamhla nawuvulile usengemasiko uhambelana nekudla lesiswati kade ukuthi ukudla lesiswati akulekise mhlawumbe nawo siyini ukudla kwamaswati udatha kuba nemibhida nephalishi nenyama kusho ukuthi udakwatwana futhi-ke nangabe kudwa ukuthi nawo kaswati ukuthi
The Minister of Education, Lady Howard, says they are delighted to have such events hosted in different schools around the kingdom.
Siyajabula ke silitiko letemfundo nokuqeqesha ukuthi tikolwa kulamalanga tiyalugubha lolusuku siyakhuthata futhi kakhulu ngoba sikhuthata lokuthi bantwa bethu bati ngemasiko ethu esiswati ngoba emasiko ethu esiswati ngiwo lasichaza buve bethu ukuthi sibobani siphila kanjani. Siyajabula ke kakhulu uma bantwana bethu banenshisekelo tikolwa tinenshisekelo kangaka ukuthi tilugubhe lolusuku lolu ngoba sifuna ukuthi nasendlula sikushiye lobuve bethu nemasiko ethu sikushiye kuhlede bantwaneni bethu batokukhona nabo ukuchubela embili ngoba singemaswati sifuna kuchubeka sibe ngemaswati impilo yethu yonke.
The Member of Parliament for Metula constituency, Derek Masuku, has further urged students to assume good character, as that will ensure they succeed in life. For Eswatini TV, I'm Thando Mdluli, Metula.
The Health Bill of 2022 has passed with amendments in Senate. This legislation seeks to improve Eswatini's health system. One of the amendments made in the bill is the abolition of abortion.
When moving the motion to adopt the report on the Health Bill of 2022, Senator Isaac Makakula said there were two major points of debate. These were cloning and abortion.
It was the general feeling of the senators as part of their interrogating the bill and fear that the clause and sub-clauses in the way the provisions were crafted in the bill would create a wrong impression and would be perceived that the bill was intending to legalize abortion, which was further from the truth.
Minister of Information, Communication and Technology, Her Royal Highness Princess Sikhanyiso, made a recommendation and the Attorney General, Sifiso Mashampu Kumalo, chipped in.
Bema beauty products, ganzi lama cosmetics, la everywhere. Laba jova, laba funa kanya, nalabo labathatha ama-products bafuna ukukhula ngalanciphe ngalana lasho neBhayibheli ethi ekugcineni siyakuthanza kakhulu kwekuthi leyo nkosi leyo ingabe iyasala ayingeni yini la kulo mthetho wetempilo.
What I better would say, this is a discussion that we should start having with the president, and maybe in our next one, however, at this stage, probably provide Maswa a chance to consulting on it, and even at the move for once it's maybe good. But Maswa does not have to be the president, but people initiative for it.
Minister of Health Lizinkosi thanked the House for its support.
Ngisenza komiti kusibambisa kakhulu komsebenzi ngiphinze ngibonge nalendlu ukuthi lona ngumsebenzi esikhulumise kakhulu obenedingcingwana letiningi letenda ukuthi ufuna sikhulumise sicabange sibe semaswati sicabange ukuthi impilo umsebenzi wetempilo uyaphi lempilo lapho siyakhona nokuthi ufuna ume kanjani.
The bill was then passed with amendments. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, Parliament.
The Minister of Home Affairs, Prince Lindiwe, says the National Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Bill will ensure that the ministry works efficiently and effectively when passed into an act. The minister said this shortly after the Senators' workshop on the bill in Parliament.
The minister says the bill will also address the issue of registration of children by their fathers, which was not happening before.
Lo mthetho ke utokwenda ukuthi kube ngcono lokuthatha kwala mabhuku ladingwa sive njenge ukuthi nje nangabe waseshiselweni akudingi ukuthi utofika la eMbabane headquarters kuze ukuthi indzaba yakhe tosetshentwa esifundzeni sakho nje eshiselweni sebangayibuka nakhona lendzaba bayiteke bakubhalise hayi ukuthi kuze yoshona langa uye le eMbabane sekwenta kube malula nje nalokuthi ke abantu ukhanza ukuthi bayajika bayafika emahhovisini bayajika ngetindzaba ukuthi sekushoda lokho kutaba clear ukuthi kufuneka inani lotana yehhovisi kuze ukuthi utobhaliseka uze utothola iID sesitovula ukuthi nalabathu nasebatawukhona ukuthi babhalise bantwana babo labadelwe kulo mthetho lo wendlulile wesilisa vele bekangambhalisi umfana ngalokuthi akamati mbambamba umntwana ukuthi akabani mbambamba watiwa ngilomako wakhe.
On another note, the minister says the mopping exercise, which was halted because of lack of finances, has now resumed.
Mopping ikhona ike yema kancane ngendzaba yathi bekusalungiswa imali ukuthi kutawubhadalwa bekudingeka imali. Yaqhubeka kuyabhaliswa abantu bayakhona batafuna ukuthola ama-IDs batokhona kungena elikhethweni ngoba
The House of Senate is yet to work on the National Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Bill. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla, Muzimkhonda, Lobamba.
The Center for Financial Inclusion has donated 10 tablets to the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, which will be used for cooperative data collection. Making his remarks during the handover at the ministry, the minister, Mangoba Kumalo, says the information collected will help in initiating changes to the implementation strategy and policies to ensure that the set objectives in the sector are achieved.
Having coders in this data age for the ministry, particularly the cooperative department, is a huge milestone. This system allows all of us to make decisions based on accurate data and timely data that is also dynamic data. The country is now able to also measure trends and make sure that we can assess performance as well as understand where we need to focus on as government. Information gathered during monitoring enables the cooperative sector to relate inputs to the achievements and outputs, and to also measure effectiveness and therefore initiate changes where necessary so that it informs the strategy as well as policy direction.
Center for Financial Inclusion's Chief Executive Officer Nomcebo Hadebe says cooperatives need all the support
And it's very important, Honourable Minister. I think this government has highlighted the importance of concise data because it has to be reliable.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade has said in total the country has about 1,100 cooperatives. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla, Muzimkhonda, Mbabane.
The Public Accounts Committee says someone has to face the law in the matter of the Eswatini Electricity Company paying over 2.8 million for its former managing director's medical bill. The committee says the issue is not paying the bill but whether or not procedure was followed. The committee says it has not been furnished with proof that this money was indeed paid for the medical expenses.
The Public Accounts Committee instructed the Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy to engage the Eswatini Electricity Company for purposes of getting proof of payment of over 2.8 million to a medical facility in South Africa for the public entity's former managing director's medical bill.
Basiphendula basho bathi PS sinenkinga asikhone ukusubmitela ama invoices due to the doctor-patient confidentiality.
The committee was unsatisfied with the response.
Uma sebangasakhoni ke nokusinika nama invoices stop proof phela age asitobona ukuthi cha vele yaya khona eMilpark yonke imali sekuphinde nje kusicalisa past the issue ukuthi siphinde siqalele past the issue siphinde si interrogate kanti bathini besizama ukuthi asale siphuma ke sonke siphuma sepe simathi kwendeka kanje but sekusikhomba nje iningi into vele ngoba thina asili ukuthi bambhadalelana but siyena ukuthi they flout the procedures.
Even in medical aid, okay, in this case, you are exhausted, but lamanye ma invoices are khona kaSwazimende. Lolo bhadalako kunale concern vele yokuthi lolo bhadalako yena uyini usigulane ungudokotela. Because here we are not about discussing the illness of the patient.
The committee said another anomaly in this transaction is that there are no minutes of a meeting where it was agreed that EEC should pay for the medical expenses. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, Parliament.
The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says government is committed to the creation of national policies and providing a conducive environment that will support the effective delivery of government services in a well-coordinated system with special emphasis on social welfare, gender and children issues. The Deputy Prime Minister was speaking during the official launch of the 60 Minutes of Service for 60 Years global campaign, where he was represented by the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Polile Shakantu.
The Waterford Kamhlaba College will be celebrating 60 years since it was established. The college is currently enrolling students from 66 countries and 100 teachers. As part of a series of build-up activities towards the celebration, the college has launched its 60 Minutes of Service for 60 Years global campaign. Speaking during the launch, the Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku, represented by the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Polile Shakantu, says government is proud of the achievements of Waterford Kamhlaba not only in academics but also in making a positive, lifelong impact on students by teaching them life lessons and values that will carry them through their entire lives.
Through your historic principle of devotion to community service and outdoor learning, you are positively impacting our communities and thereby aligning with government's priorities in nation building and the Sustainable Development Goals.
The WK's principal, Jackie Otula, highlighted some of the community projects that the college has been able to do over the years.
And those projects, 40 years down the lane, include the following. Sedusizi Community Service Project, where they built a footbridge for students to get to school safely. A preschool community service, which provided early childhood education for children of the maintenance staff at WK, as well as other children referred by the Bamban Government Hospital's Children's Ward.
The community service activities will take place during the whole month of June 2023. The nation and the world at large are invited to dedicate 60 minutes of their time doing community service. Eswatini TV News Ndomlangeni, Waterford.
The Kingdom of Eswatini has made great strides in preventing and treatments of TB and silicosis, especially in minors and ex-minors. The National TB Control Program Manager, Lindiwe Dlamini, says Eswatini is working towards adopting the TB management framework, which seeks to ensure that ex-minors and minors are provided with the necessary health care services and compensation. Dlamini was speaking during a stakeholder workshop facilitated by SADC held in Eswatini.
In 2012, African leaders reaffirmed their commitment to ending TB and HIV in the mining sector. A framework management tool was developed to strengthen minors and ex-minors' access to care and treatment. The stakeholders' workshop seeks to look at efforts made by the government of Eswatini to address TB, HIV, and silicosis. The National TB Program's Manager Lindiwe Dlamini says the country is working towards adopting the framework management of TB, HIV and silicosis. Dlamini says the kingdom has been able to set up 2 hospitals that are for treating and testing TB and silicosis. Dlamini says currently they are looking to commission a mobile truck with fully fledged equipment to test these diseases. Dlamini says some patients cannot afford traveling costs to hospitals, thus providing the mobile hospital truck.
Sikhonile kuba nema-clinic abo la khona nje baya bafike banekekeleke kahle kutotonke letinhlangothi. Lama clinic ke abo ase ikhona lese RFM ikhona lekahlathi. So kulama clinic ke anale equipment yonke lekhona. Nakafike khona nje uyakhona ukuthi ahlolwe ukuthi udeni TB, atestwe kunale machine yekutesta, uyakhona bese sophinze uyalapheka.
The SADC Regional TB Coordinator, Dr. Charles Sandy, says they would like to see an increase in domestic funding as currently most programs are receiving external support.
Our concern is that traditionally there's been a lot of migration of people from Eswatini going to seek opportunities in South Africa, and these were many opportunities in the mining sector. And these citizens, some of them, when they come back, they would also come back with TB.
This workshop comes at a time where the Kingdom of Eswatini is putting together a new strategic plan to address TB, HIV and silicosis. For Eswatini TV News, Ndomlangeni, Ezulwini.
Some traditional healers have registered for the elections at the Elections and Boundaries Commission at Nkanini. Speaking after his registration, the chairperson of the Traditional Healers Association, Makanya, says that part of the reasons why they have registered for the elections is because they want Parliament to review the Witchcraft Act of 1950 upon assuming office.
Labakhona eveni sibalungisele malungelo abo njengokuthi batawuphila kanjani batawusebenza kanjani thina senemthetho lapha lona bo 100 years ngoma 1954 lo solongalungiswa.
The chairperson says they feel some of their issues have been neglected, so voting in the elections will give them a voice to change some of the laws that affect them.
Thina sibadinga ukuthi basuka le kubobaba emphakathini yabo etikhulwini kubantu abenkosi asibadi nje thina ukuthi sitawusuka simnikete ipermit uqala le mangweni lapha asebenza khona eteke bese ke sotawuthola lama permits.
The Judicial Commissioner at the Eswatini National Court, Hansense Dlamini, says he supports the traditional healers registering for the elections since he works closely with them. The last day for the national election registrations will be on the 14th of next month. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla, Lobamba.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates. Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV, and for sports news tonight, the Minister of Sports, Harris Bulunga, has expressed his gratitude to KFC for sponsoring sports development in the country. The minister says it has become rare for companies to pump in money in such programs. The minister was speaking when presenting kits to schools competing in the Eswatini Foundation that is sponsored by KFC at the Mountain View in Mbabane.
The Eswatini Foundation presented playing kits to schools that are competing in the Eswatini Foundation. In an event held at the Mountain View in Mbabane, the Minister for Sports highlighted the big role played by companies like KFC, who are sponsoring grassroots development.
Once again, allow me to acknowledge and appreciate our sponsors, KFC Eswatini. This is a very generous sponsorship, and what is even more pleasing about it is the fact that you have decided to support a level which people normally shy away from. Everyone wants to be at the top, where there's a lot of media attention and public attention, but you've decided to support development, and for that we'll forever be grateful.
Eswatini, who is the founder of the association, thanked all those who were present and mentioned that he understands the struggles of not having support and playing kits for children, which is why he is trying to help. Also present were the sponsors, KFC, who are represented by Nigel England, who highlighted that sports keeps children healthy. The games will include games for under 17 girls, games for under 15 boys, and drum measuring. The Eswatini Sports and Recreational Council is currently preparing for the regional annual sporting awards known as RASA that will be hosted in the country. The council is currently busy with preparations for the award ceremony and has promised that everything is on schedule. And also, support from corporate companies will go a long way in making the event a success. The awards committee from RASA will be in the country this week to see how far with the preparations. The event is scheduled to be hosted on the 24th of June 2023. In the ongoing French Open, there was a big surprise when Brazilian Thiago Seybold, who's ranked 172, knocked out second-ranked Russian Daniil Medvedev by 7-6, 6-7, 2-6, 6-3, 6-4. Medvedev came to these games as favorite to win the whole tournament, which would have seen him climb to the top of the rankings. Thiago, on the other hand, had to go through qualifiers to get to the tournament and was happy with how he performed, as he says it will now give him confidence as he seeks to progress further in the tournament. In football, the Under-20 World Cup going on in Argentina has now reached the last 16 stage. America booked their spot in the last 8 after beating New Zealand by 4-0. Israel beat Uzbekistan by 1-0. Coming up today, we'll see England take on Italy, Brazil will take on Tunisia, and Argentina will take on Nigeria. The English Premier League has arrested 5 men who were found guilty of illegally streaming their games. The 5 men are reported to have made over £7 million and have been sentenced to a combined 30-year prison sentence. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizum Sebi, and pictures are sourced from DW, France 24 and VOA.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a quick recap of today's headlines. The Deputy Prime Minister Temba Masuku attended a Culture Day event at Eswatini High School. The Health Bill of 2022 has passed with amendments in Senate. Some traditional healers have registered for the elections at the Elections and Boundaries Commission at Nkanini. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.
Today,